Very, very close, Beverly, and in fact, so close that you think when you just read the numbers that they did get across the line. So we had 26 votes for the vote of no confidence. So that's 26 members of parliament that wanted to oust the prime minister, and 23 that voted with the government. So just looking at those numbers, you'd see that the opposition did have the majority. They had the simple majority of 26 to 23, but Vanuatu has 52 seats in its parliament. So to get an absolute majority, technically the opposition needed 27. Now, the reason things are a bit complicated, and stay with me here, is because that there's one of an opposition member, or we believe he would have sat on the opposition side, that's actually currently overseas for treatment. Now, the opposition were trying to push to try and get his vote counted virtually. That wasn't allowed because it's not constitutional, the speaker said. So that vote wasn't allowed. And then we had another vacancy because there was one MP or one seat that's still up for a by-election next month. So because of that, the opposition, they weren't able to get an absolute majority, even though they had a simple majority. And they were very, very unhappy about it. We heard in Parliament people slamming their hands on the table when they heard that their motion was defeated, despite having that 26 majority number. People calling out against the government, asking the Prime Minister to resign because he didn't have the support of the majority, and that's where things were left as Parliament closed today.
Yeah, Australia, of course, featured in this no confidence motion, the security pact among that that was signed between the Prime Minister and Australia.
Yes, indeed. So yes, that's what was sort of in a roundabout way mentioned in the motion. So they mentioned about a security pact signed with the development partner being one of the reasons why the opposition or some of the MPs that moved to the opposition no longer had confidence in the Prime Minister. Now, Vanuatu, the government only signed a pact with Australia, so we can sort of read between the lines and read into them talking about the security pact that was signed between Vanuatu and Australia last year when Foreign Minister Penny Wong visited the country. Now, they say that this sort of undermined, the signing that is, undermined Vanuatu's sovereignty, it undermined its independence, it also undermined its neutrality in the region. Vanuatu has a policy of sort of being friends to all, enemies to none. So this was sort of the accusations leveled from the opposition against the Prime Minister as part of this vote of no confidence. So that's one reason Australia played into it. There is another, though. Australia obviously has a lot of seasonal workers from Vanuatu as well that comes to Australia, mainly working in farms as well. Also brought up in the motion of no confidence against the Prime Minister. The opposition said that this seasonal work is not being well managed, and it's leading to what they call a labour shortage and a skills shortage among a lot of sectors, they claim, including tourism, including hospitality, and also another reason the Prime Minister should leave his position. So those are just two ways that Australia and more explicitly foreign engagement from Vanuatu with Australia has been mentioned as part of this motion.
As you pointed out, these none too frequent no confidence motions in Vanuatu must be quite destabilising. What sort of impact does it have on people?
Well, it's an interesting question here, Beverly, because everyone you talk to here will say that they are so frustrated with these frequent changes in government. You know, as I said, votes of no confidence of this kind are actually quite common. This government has only served about 9 months, 18 months of its term and was met with a no confidence vote. The government before them also had a no confidence vote put against them, and that's how they lost power as well. So we see this happen quite a lot in Vanuatu, and people here are very, very frustrated. They say things like, you know, we can't get policies done, we can't have leaders actually lead the country without them being able to sit a full term. And it's sort of across the board, no matter the political positions, people across the board seem to say how frustrated they are about the situation here. In fact, the government says that their about to put forward a bill on this very matter to try and enforce a bit more stability in the government to make sure that any government can serve their terms, can actually do their work. But of course, with this political instability the way it is now, there's a question mark whether that bill can actually go forward and get through. So it is likely that we'll see this instability go forward. And the question is as well, what does this mean for foreign engagement, foreign policy, when the Prime Minister changes so frequently? That the question is how does that affect foreign relations as well? And a lot of people here are saying that it isn't a good look for Vanuatu and things need to change.
Yeah, interesting ones. Good to talk, Priyanka. Thanks so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Beverly.